Let's work through a frequency distribution example. Now remember, a frequency distribution is just a simple way to display our data. And what it does is it places each of our data points, each of our observations, into different classes. So we've figured out how many classes we need to have. We've already calculated the approximate class width. And then we can place all of these observations into those classes. And this is what a frequency distribution will look like. Notice we have our classes over there on the left. For units sold in a day, we have 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, and 20 to 24. Remember some of those rules about frequency distributions. They need to be mutually exclusive classes, right? We don't have any overlap. They need to be equal sizes. So 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, those are all equal size classes. We don't have any open-ended classes. And we don't have any empty classes at the start or the end of our frequency distribution, right? So we're following all of these rules here with our classes. Now, frequency will tell us how many times we sold 0 to 4 units or 5 to 9 units. So we had 3 days where we sold 0 to 4 units. We had 7 days where we sold 5 to 9, 4 days where we sold 10 to 14, and so on. Once we have that down, then we can talk about relative frequency. So relative frequency shows the proportion of observations in each class compared to the total number of samples. So we have this equation here to find our relative frequency. It's your frequency in that class divided by the total frequency. And now you'll know that you did it correctly when you add up all of your relative frequencies and they add up to 1. So we take a look at our first class here. Notice that class frequency was 3. We now divide it by 22, the total. So the relative frequency is 0.1364. And then we would do that for the rest of them. 7 divided by 22, 4 divided by 22. And we get those relative frequencies. So just looking at it quickly, we can see, okay, about 32% of the time, we sell between 5 and 9 units. About 9% of the time, we sell between 20 and 24 units. Right? So that's what these relative frequencies are going to be telling us here. And if we add up all of those decimals, all of those relative frequencies, we get 1. Now we can talk about cumulative relative frequency. Cumulative relative frequency is when we add up all of the relative frequencies as you move down the table. The cumulative relative frequency for the final class will always equal 1. So that's another check that we can use as we work through something like this. So for your first class, that's all we had, was just the 0.13. But for the second class, we'll take that 0.13 and add in the 0.31 because that was our relative frequency here. So now, if we wanted to say, okay, selling 0 to 9 units, that's about 45% of the time. Or if we keep adding, if we add the 0.45 to the 0.18, we get the 0.63. So now 0 to 14 units is about 63% of the time. 0 to 19 units is about 90% of the time. So we can work our way down this cumulative relative frequency, and it will help us understand our data a little bit better.